So this year, I want to share with y'all my overall credit card strategy, from the cards I will be using to how I plan on using points throughout the year as a way of demonstrating just how powerful credit cards can be. I'm going to break this down into a few parts, starting with my current credit card situation, including how many points I have, then sharing what cards I'm thinking about applying for, and finally, how I foresee using some of my points this year. So let's jump right in with where I currently am at. Over the past couple of years, I've acquired 5 total credit cards, all on the personal side, that play into my overall credit card strategy. These cards include the Discover It Chrome card, the Chase Trifecta, which includes the Chase Freedom Flex, Chase Freedom Unlimited, and Chase Sapphire Preferred, and my most recent card is the Amex Gold card. The Discover It Chrome was my first credit card that used to be the student version, and I really only used that card about once a month at restaurants to redeem my cash back, and I have a remaining cashback balance on that card of just $31, so really not much use there. So that card is largely out of the picture, but I will just keep using it every so often to keep the account active. Now, moving on to my Chase Trifecta, I acquired these cards over the course of a year, and I use all 3 pretty frequently for different reasons. These cards have been the biggest driver of point accumulation over the course of my credit card journey, and I currently have around 180,000 ultimate reward points across the 3 cards. And I really love Chase points for the fact that they have Hyatt as a transfer partner, since in my opinion it is the best chain due to the redemption rates they offer on their award bookings. Finally, I have my Amex Gold card, which I acquired in late July of last year after they revamped the card. I know the Amex Gold card is quite controversial due to its high annual fee and the fact that many people are frustrated by the need to use credits just to get use out of it, but for me, it has actually become my most used card because of its 4x multiplier on restaurants and groceries, which in my current situation is one of my biggest expense categories since I'm not currently paying rent. Between the 100,000 point welcome offer and just through spending, I have roughly 123,000 points as of the time of this recording, and I actually haven't redeemed any Amex points quite yet, but I anticipate using Amex points more for flight redemptions and keeping my Chase points for hotel bookings. Something that is important to track if you're planning on getting multiple credit cards is your 524 status, which is a credit card rule Chase has that pretty much states that you will be automatically denied for any Chase credit card if you've opened 5 credit cards over the past 2 years. Some of you might be thinking that 5 cards is just absolutely ludicrous and don't even need to think about this metric, but for those of us who are trying to extract as much value from credit cards as possible, it's important to remain below this if you want Chase credit cards, which, as I mentioned earlier, is one of my favorite point currencies. So as of January 2025, I'm sitting at 424 with another slot opening in early February, which will put me at 324. With that being said, let's talk about the cards I'm thinking of applying for this year. And real quick, I'm not dead set on any of these cards quite yet, so I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments if you think I'm missing anything. I also don't have any particular order I plan on acquiring any of these cards in, simply because I plan on waiting for elevated offers to become available, so that will largely dictate the order I pick them up in. One of the things I want to do new this year is to start getting my first business credit cards to use for this channel to 1, make it easier to sort personal and business expenses, but also 2, to expand my credit card options to business cards that, by the way, don't increase your 524 status. The main one on my radar is the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited, which is a card I've heard great things about, and it currently has a 75,000 point welcome offer, but I hope to pick it up when it gets an elevated offer such as 90,000 point welcome offer, which we have seen in the past. Another potential card on my radar is the Chase Inc. Business Preferred, but I prefer the Unlimited since the card has a $0 annual fee compared to the Business Preferred's $95 annual fee. Outside of the Chase ecosystem, another potential card might be the Amex Blue Business Plus, since it also has no annual fee and has an attractive 2 point per dollar earning structure. The only issue is it doesn't have a big sign-up offer, which I prefer because that's where you can extract a lot of value from credit cards, but at no annual fee, there's no cost, so it's definitely a potential card to pick up. Now, if we switch gears over to the personal side, there's a couple cards that are attractive to me. One being the Capital One Venture X, which would be my first premium travel credit card if I get it. One of the main reasons I'm looking at this card right now, despite it having a $395 annual fee, is that Capital One is considered a subprime lender, meaning they target people with slightly worse credit scores and those without extensive credit histories. I've seen plenty of data points that show people with lots of credit cards and exceptional credit scores getting denied for this card, so if I want it, it should probably be one of my next cards. Now, on top of that fact, I also like a lot about the Venture X. I like that it earns minimum 2 points per dollar. I like the fact that between the $300 travel credit and the $10,000 anniversary points, the card practically pays for itself. And I like the transfer partners this card gives you access to. Hopefully, we will be seeing an elevated offer on this card somewhat soon, but I'm not certain this will be the case. And the 75,000 point standard offer is still pretty good. Another potential personal card is the World of Hyatt credit card, which has an annual fee of $95 and a welcome offer of 30,000 points after spending $3,000 in the first 3 months, and another 30,000 points earned through an elevated 2x points per dollar on up to $15,000 in spend. I don't anticipate maxing out the second part of the bonus because I think that spend could be better used elsewhere, but even with just the 30,000 points, this card would pay for itself for a couple years, considering that Hyatt points are super valuable. So those are the 5 cards on my radar this year. However, as I said earlier, let me know if you think there are better options down in the comments below. With that, let's move on to the fun part, which is how I will be using my points this year. The main use of my points this year will be on a trip to Switzerland and Italy, and I will likely be using some of both Amex points as well as Chase points for this trip. I will likely be flying economy to/from Switzerland using Amex MR points, transferred over to Flying Blue, which is the reward program of Air France and KLM. Unfortunately, I missed the best opportunity to book in business class, which is when the award seats first come out almost a year in advance, but I'm keeping my eyes peeled for any good last-minute business class deals that come up and might change my plans. Now, when it comes to hotels for this trip, I am mainly going to be using Chase points to transfer over to Hyatt for stays in Zurich and Italy, but unfortunately for many of the other stops in Switzerland, there aren't many great point redemption options. I may be using the Chase transfer portal to book some hotels at a redemption rate of 1.25 cents per point, or I might just pay for these out of pocket. It remains to be seen. And this leads me to a good point that not all of my travel is free from credit card points. Although credit card points make it much more affordable, there still are taxes, fees, activities, food, and hotels that sometimes can't be booked using points, which all cost cold hard cash. But overall, my travel is still much cheaper thanks to credit card points. Other potential trips I will take this year include a trip in April that I'm still trying to figure out where to go, but I'm mainly looking at domestic options for this. If you have any recommendations for great places to visit in April, even if they're international, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And finally, my family is potentially looking at a trip out to New York for Christmas, which I will likely be using points for the flights for that, but again, haven't booked those yet. Overall, this year will likely drain my total point balance significantly. That's why I'm looking to get some more cards with Chase, Amex, and Capital One to replenish those after all of this travel. And with that, those are my overall credit card strategy thoughts. Thank you very much for watching, and please feel free to check out this video over here that YouTube thinks you would like as well.